Hello everyone, good morning. This is the last day of this lecture series on virtual connect with group theory. Today I am going to discuss some previous year questions which appeared in the CSIR JRF NET examinations. Okay, yeah. Let's start with question number 1. Yeah, here character table for C3V point group is given. The question is this: consider the reducible representation. Reducible representation is given here. Its irreducible components are. So what we have to do? You just reduce this representation using the character table and find out how many A1 irreducible representation present in the reducible representation. Similarly, how many A2, how many E are present in the reducible representation, we have to find out. Okay, yeah. So for this we should use the reduction formula. Okay, see here, you know very well this is the reduction formula. AI is equal to 1 by H summation NR. What is NR? What is H? H is nothing but order of the group. NR is number of operations in each class. Chi R is the character of the reducible representation. Chi I R is the character of the irreducible representation. Okay. Now first we will take A1 irreducible representation. For A1 irreducible representation, the irreducible characters are 1, 1, 1. Okay, and the number of operations in class 1 is 1, in second class it is 2, in third class it is 3. Okay, so how to calculate A1? See, number of A1 present in the reducible representation, right? 1 by H is 6. What is H? H is order of the group, nothing but total number of symmetry operations present in the group. In C3V point group, we have totally 6 operations, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 1 6. So order of the group is 6. Okay, into then number of operation in the class 1, in first class. Okay, this is class 1, this is class 2, this is class 3. In the class number 1, first class, we have 1 symmetry operation. So number of operation is 1. Reducible character, listen, yeah, what is the reducible character? For identity, reducible character is 6. Okay, so 1 into 6, and irreducible character is 1 under E. Okay, then plus, then we will go to the second class. In second class, number of operation is 2, irreducible character is 1, and reducible character is 3. So 2 into 1 into 3. Then in third class, 3 into 1 into 0. So I have given everything. Since in the third class we have 0, so on multiplication you will get 0 as the result. So I put the 0 directly here. Okay, so if you multiply and add and divided by 6, you will get the answer as 2. In a similar manner, calculate how many A2 present. Okay, you will get A2 has 2. A for E we have 1. We will get 1. So how many A1 is present? We have 2 A1. How many A2? We have 2 A2 and 1 E irreducible representation present in the reducible representation. Okay, whether the answer is correct or not, how to check? For this listen, so you know very well, 2 into A is 1 dimension plus 2 into again A 1 dimension plus E is 2 dimension. E is 2 dimension. So now if you add all these things, okay, 2 into 1 2, 2 into 1 2, so 2 plus 2 plus 2 6, right? Now see the identity character is 6, so the answer is correct. Therefore, what is the correct option? 2A1 plus 2A2 plus E. So the correct option is 2A1 plus 2A2 plus E. So option A for question number 1. Are you able to follow? Yeah. See question number 2. Yeah, this is question number 2. A molecule contains the following symmetry operations: 1 identity operation, 2 C6 operation, 2 C3 operation, 1 C2, 3 sigma D, 3 sigma V. What is the question? The question is this: the number of classes and order of the symmetry point group is. Listen, identity element forms separate class, and C6, these two operations form separate class. These two operations form separate class. this one forms separate class, okay, and sigma d operations form separate class, sigma v operations form separate class. So number of classes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this molecule has 6 classes. So number of classes is 6. How many operations are there? See here, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 1 7, 7 plus 2 9, 9 plus 2 11, 11 plus 1 12. So it has 12 symmetry operations. Number of operations, okay, is nothing but order of the group. So class is 6, order is 12. So the correct option is C. Are you able to follow? So this is the correct option. Then see question number 3. Identify the Mulliken notation for the following irreducible representation. Yeah, how to identify this? Listen, for identity operation, the character given is 1. You know very well, identity character represent the dimension, right? So the dimension is 1. Therefore this irreducible representation must belong to a one-dimensional irreducible representation. One dimension means the symbol can be either A or B. Okay, so when E is 1, if the character of identity is 1, then the symbol can be either A or B. Now whether it is A or B, okay, how to fix it? For this, see the principal axis. Principal axis has +1 character. +1 means the irreducible representation is symmetric with respect to principal axis. Whenever irreducible representation is symmetric with respect to principal axis, then we should use the symbol A. So the symbol is A. Listen, when E is 1, the symbol can be A or B. When principal axis has positive character, then the symbol should be A. Then we have n C2 axis perpendicular to Cn. Okay, n C2 is given. Listen, whenever perpendicular axis present, right, then see the character of the perpendicular axis. If it is +1, okay, then give the subscript 1. If it is -1, then give the subscript as 2. So for this irreducible representation, the subscript number should be 2. Then see the C2 axis which is perpendicular to Cn. Okay, if perpendicular C2 has -1 character, okay, then use the subscript 2. If it is +1, use the subscript 1. So in this case it is -1, so subscript is 2. Then see the inversion. Inversion symbol is -1, so it should be A to U. A to U. Whenever inversion is present, you need not see sigma h, but in all the options, okay, prime symbol is given, single prime, double prime. So you have to see the prime symbol also. So for horizontal plane, okay, the character is -1. Therefore it is anti-symmetric, right, with respect to sigma h. Listen, if it is symmetric, +1 means single prime, -1 means double prime. So the correct symbol should be A to U double prime. So the correct option is B. Are you clear? Yeah. Then see question number 4. The character table of C3V point group is provided below along with an additional reducible representation. Yeah, some reducible representation is given. What we have to do? We have to reduce this and we should find out the correct option. Okay. Yeah. Listen, as we proceed in question number 1, use the reduction formula and find out how many A1, how many A2, how many E present in the given reducible representation. Okay. So if you calculate, we get these results, right? For A1 we'll get 2, for A2 0, for E 2. So the reducible representation can be reduced to, it consists of 2A1 plus 2E. Okay, 2A1 plus 2E. Whether this answer is correct or not, how to check? 2 into 1 dimension plus 2 into 2 dimension. So what's the answer? Yeah, 2 into 2 4, 4 plus 2 6. So see the identity character. Identity character in the reducible representation is 6. Therefore our answer is correct. Now, so what's the answer we got? 2A1 plus 2E. So which is the correct option? 2A1 plus 2E. So the correct option is option B. Okay. Then see question number 5. Okay, in question number 5, number of times A1 representation appears in the representation of gamma. So some representation is given 3 1 1 3. Okay, definitely it should be a reducible representation. Why? If you take the squares of these characters, okay, and if you add, okay, see 3 square 9, 3 square 9, 9 plus 9 18, plus 1 19, plus 1 20. 20 is greater than order of the group. What is the order of the group? 4. So definitely this representation should be a reducible representation. Now what we have to do? We should find out how many A1 is present in the reducible representation. Very simple. Use the reduction formula and calculate number of A1. Okay. So okay, see, listen, in each class number of operation is 1 and reducible characters are given. Since it is A1, okay, A1 is totally symmetric. So in C2V point group, okay, for totally irreducible representation, not only in C2, in all point group, okay, totally symmetric irreducible representation always have the characters plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Correct? Now you just use this here in the reduction formula and calculate the number of A1 present. So this reducible representation contains 2 A1 irreducible representations. So the correct option is 2. Are you able to follow? Yeah. Then see question number 6. Refer to the character table of the point group C3V. Right? Find which of the following transition is forbidden. Okay. Yes. How to do this? Listen. A1 to A1 transition, A1 to E transition, A2 to E, A1 to A2. Right? Among these transitions, which is forbidden? Yes. How to do that? Okay. So in the option A, it is given that A1 to A1 transition. Okay. Listen, so initial state corresponds to A1. Final state also corresponds to A1. So what to do? Take the direct product of the initial state and final state. See here. See in option A, both are A1. So take the direct product. You know very well, A1 representation has the character 1 1 1. So if you multiply A1 by A1, 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1 is 1. So again you will get A1. Okay. And now see along A1, see the column number 3. Along A1 in column number 3 we have Z. Okay. Whenever X or Y or Z present, okay, then that transition is allowed. So A1 to A1 transition is allowed in C3V point group. Then option B, A1 to E transition. See A1 to E. What you have to do? Multiply A1 with E. You know very well A1 is totally symmetric. With the totally symmetric irreducible representation, if you multiply any irreducible representation, you will get that irreducible representation as a result. So A1 into E will give you E. Now see along E we have X as well as Y. If any one is present, that is sufficient for the transition to be allowed. Are you able to understand? So we have X as well as Y. Therefore this A1 to E transition is also an allowed transition. Then the next option, A2 to E transition. Third option, A2 to E. Listen, initial state is A2, final state is E. Multiply these two, right? So we'll get, see, for A2 what are the characters? Characters 1 1 minus 1. For E the characters are 2 minus 1 0. If I multiply these two, 1 into 2 2, right? 1 into 2 is 2, 1 into minus 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1 into 0 0. So again the characters are 2 minus 1 0, which corresponds to E. So A2 into E also gives you E, right? So now see along E in third column we have X as well as Y. Therefore this transition also allowed. Okay. Now we left with only one option. What is that? D. So A1 to A2 transition is given here. Okay. So initial state is A1, final state is A2. Multiply A1 and A2. Since A1 is totally symmetric, if you multiply with A2, you will get A2 as the result, right? Now along A2, you see this? See the character table along A2, in third column, we don't have X or Y or Z here. If X, Y, Z are absent, then that transition is a forbidden transition. So among these options, right, the option D this transition A1 to A2 transition is a forbidden transition. Are you clear? Then see question number 7. The symmetry point group of ethane in its staggered conformation is staggered conformation. Yeah, listen, you know very well how to find out point group of a molecule. Okay, these are the steps we should follow. What is the first step? First is see the shape of the molecule. So this is the staggered conformation of ethane. Definitely it is a non-linear molecule, so it is a non-linear molecule. Now you analyze what are the different symmetry operations present in the molecule. So here we have one C3 axis, right? C3 axis passing through carbon. If you rotate by 120 degree, right, this hydrogen will come here, this hydrogen will go back, and that hydrogen will come here. So this molecule has one C3 axis. It has only one C3 axis. Molecule has only one C3 axis. Then it has perpendicular C2. Listen, see at this center point, you just insert an imaginary axis perpendicular to the screen. Okay, see at this center point, listen, I am showing here. At this center point, you insert an axis perpendicular to the screen, and if you rotate by 180 degree, what will happen? This hydrogen will go here and this hydrogen will come here. Am I right? Okay, so this molecule possesses perpendicular C2. Am I right? Listen, between these two hydrogen we have one C2. Similarly, between this hydrogen which is towards us and this hydrogen which is behind the board, between these two hydrogen we have one more C2, and between these two hydrogen we have another C2. So this molecule has 3 perpendicular C2 axes. Okay, you know very well, whenever perpendicular C2 axis present, right, perpendicular to your principal axis, then it should belong to a dihedral group. So this molecule must belong to a dihedral group, right? Is there any horizontal plane? If you keep a plane here, okay, at the middle, and if you do reflection, what will happen? See, this side we have only one hydrogen, but here we have 2 hydrogen. So definitely we will never get equivalent configuration. So horizontal plane is absent. When horizontal plane is absent, then check for dihedral plane. Yes, the molecule has dihedral plane. Okay, so between the adjacent C2 we can keep a plane, and that plane is dihedral plane, and this molecule has 3 dihedral plane. So this molecule belongs to D3D point group. Are you clear? Yeah, because in dihedral group we have only 3. What are they? DN, DNH and DND. DND. Okay, so in dihedral group only these 3 are available. Okay, listen, if plane of symmetry is present, horizontal plane present means DNH. If horizontal plane is absent, check for other plane of symmetry. Okay, if any other plane is present, definitely it should be a dihedral plane, because here vertical planes are not allowed. Are you able to follow? So this molecule belongs to DND point group, right? Yeah. Then, and one more information I like to give here. In DNH point group, when n is even, if n is an even number, okay, I'll just put E. If n is even, okay, then this molecule must possess center of symmetry, right? Say for example D2H point group, D4H point group, okay, D6H point group. If n is even, they must possess center of symmetry. If n is odd, right, if n is odd number, then center of symmetry will be absent. Okay, center of symmetry does not exist in DNH point group. Okay, say for example if you take D3H, center of symmetry does not exist. Then in D and D, if n is even, center of symmetry will be absent. No center of symmetry when n is even. Whereas when n is odd, when n is an odd number, then the molecule possesses a center of symmetry. For example, D3D point group, if you take D3D, 3 means n is odd number. So in D3D point group, okay, the molecule possesses center of symmetry. Say for example, chair form of cyclohexane, right? It contains a center of symmetry. So keep this information. This is very, very useful. Okay, then question number 8. The character table of the C2V point group is given below. this is a C2V table, and two functions are given. Phi1 equal to P1 plus 2P2 plus 2P3 plus P4. What does this indicate? Listen, P1, P4 size is small. P2, P3 is multiplied by 2. So size of P2 and P3 orbital should be large. And see the sign plus P1 plus all are plus. That means there is no node present in the function Phi1. There is no node present in the function. And then see this function Phi2. In Phi2, P1 and P4 orbitals have larger size. P2 and P3 are small. Okay. Then see the sign. Here we have plus sign. Here we have minus sign. So when sign changes, so between P1 and P2 there should be one node. Now see P2 to P3 minus same sign, no change in sign. So between these two there is no node. Then see P3, P4. This is minus, this is plus. So between P3 and P4 there should be one node. Are you able to follow? Okay, so keep this information in mind. Now the question is, the two functions Phi1 and Phi2 belong to, okay, belong to which irreducible representation, okay, in the C2V point group, right? Yeah, how to analyze this? Yeah, see the function Phi1, which is given as P1 plus 2P2 plus 2P3 plus P4. So I have told you the size of P1 and P4 orbitals are small. Okay, size of P2 and P3, right, should be large because it is multiplied by number 2. So roughly we can say that the size of this orbital should be twice the size of this. Okay, yeah. Now, so this is the molecule given is cis butadiene, right? The molecule given is cis butadiene, and it is also given sigma V is the molecular plane. So sigma V is the molecular plane. Okay. Now we should carry out the symmetry operations of the group in this function, and we should check whether the sign of the lobes changes or not. If the sign of the lobes remains as such, then give +1 for the character. If the sign changes, then give -1 to the characters. Okay. Now what is identity operation? Doing nothing, right? If you don't do anything, then all the lobe signs of all the lobes remains as such. Okay, so give +1 for identity operation. Then for C2 operation, so this is the Z axis, right? And if you rotate the molecule along this axis by 180 degree, what will happen? If you do 180 degree, this p orbital will go here and this will come here, but the negative sign will go up. Okay, the negative sign of this will go up. So after rotation, if you see before rotation, here I have positive sign. After rotation, this will come up. So sign changes, so put -1. Then sigma V, since in the question sigma V is given as molecular plane is one which passes through the centers of these p orbitals. Okay, so you place a plane passing through these orbitals. Okay, it should pass like this. It should be in between all the lobes. Are you able to? And if you do reflection, okay, see the upper lobe will reflect down and the lower one will go up. So sign will change. Okay, so give -1 for this operation. Then sigma V prime. Sigma V prime is the plane that's supposed to passes here. Okay, that plane, right, supposed to pass at the middle. Okay, so if you keep a plane here, what will happen? This lobe will reflect here and that lobe will reflect here. But since these two lobes have positive sign, okay, before reflection and after reflection, the sign does not change. Are you able to understand? Therefore, the signs of lobes do not change. Therefore, give +1 for this operation. Okay, for this reflection operation. So this reflection operation gets the character +1. Now see the characters 1, -1, -1, 1. Okay, listen. If you analyze the character table, in the character table of C2V point group, listen, which irreducible representation has these characters? See, 1, -1, -1, 1 corresponds to B2. Therefore, the function Phi1, okay, corresponds to B2 irreducible representation or belongs to B2 irreducible representation. Then I'll take the function Phi2. It has the function has 2p1 minus p2 minus p3 minus 2p4. So plus 2 P4, I have told you P2 P3 size is small, P1 P4 size is large because it is multiplied by some coefficients, right? So size of the two orbital will be large. Then see between the first P1 and P2 sign changes, right? This is positive, this is negative. When sign changes, there should be a node. That means if this lobe, if the P1 has positive lobe above and negative lobe below, then P2, right, between P1 and P2 sign changes, therefore there should be a node between these two. When there is a node, then sign of the lobe will change. So the upper lobe here it is positive, the upper lobe of this should carry negative sign. Are you able to understand? Then between P2 and P3, right, listen, this is minus, this is also minus. So no change of sign. Therefore, if the upper lobe has minus sign, upper lobe of this must also the same sign. Then P3 to P4, between P3 to P4, listen, this is negative and this is positive, sign changes. Therefore, there should be a node present here. Okay, there should be a node here. So the sign must change. Okay, here the upper lobe has negative sign and here the upper lobe supposed to have positive sign. Now we should carry out the operations. Listen, identity operation doing nothing, so all the lobes remains as such. Therefore, give +1 character. Okay, +1 for this character. Then for C2, if you rotate this molecule along this z-axis, principal axis by 180 degree, listen what will happen. See, this orbital will go here and this orbital will come here. Listen, when you rotate this, the lobe which is carrying negative sign, this lobe will go up. Okay, but listen, before rotation, this lobe has positive sign. After rotation, so when you do 180 degree rotation, listen, this lobe will go here and this lobe will come here. Okay, this orbital will go here and this orbital will come here, and here this lobe has negative sign. When you do 180 degree rotation, since this lobe goes up, okay, you will get negative sign above after rotation. Before rotation here we have positive sign, but after rotation you will get negative sign here. So sign changes, therefore give -1 for the character. Okay, then sigma v is the molecular plane. So when you keep a plane right at the middle and if you do reflection, definitely sign will change. So -1 sigma v prime, when you keep a plane here right along z axis, right, if you keep a plane, if you keep a plane at the middle, so like here, if you keep a plane here passing at the middle, okay, and if you do reflection, this orbital will reflect here, this will reflect here, this will reflect here, and this will reflect here. Before reflection and after reflection, okay, the signs of the lobes remain same. Therefore give +1 for the character. Now analyze these characters in the character table. Listen, yes, these characters belongs to the irreducible representation B2. So the function phi1 as well as phi2, both the functions are functions belong to the irreducible representation B2, okay, of C2b point group, right? So the correct option is, since both belong to B2, the correct option is this, third option, right? Yeah. See question number 9. The character table of C2b point group is, character table for C2 point group is given. If the initial and final states belong to A1 and B1, A1 is the initial state, B1 is the final state, irreducible representation respectively, the allowed electronic transition from A1 to B1 is X Z polarized, Y polarized, X polarized, or XZ polarized. What to do? Listen, initial state is A1, final state is B1. So take the direct product of these two. Okay, see, initial state is A1, final state is B1. Take the direct product of these. Okay, so take the direct product of these two. Since A1 is totally symmetric irreducible representation, if you multiply A1 with B1, you will get B1 as the result. Now see the character table along B1, right? We have the X component in column 3. Okay, therefore the transition A1 to B1, okay, the transition A1 to B1 is allowed by X polarized light. Okay, so the transition is allowed by X polarized light. So the correct option is C. Okay, then see question number 10. Among the following, the correct statement is, see statement number 1, the number of irreducible representations is equal to classes of symmetry operations. Yes, is equal to number of classes in the group. So statement 1 is correct. That's all. That's the correct option. Now we'll see the other options. Okay, why these options are incorrect. Okay, the number of irreducible representations is equal to the order of the group. You know very well, number of irreducible representation is equal to number of classes in the group. So this statement is wrong. Then the irreducible representation contained in any point group are always one dimension. No, the irreducible representation may be one dimension or two dimension or three dimension. So this statement also wrong. Then a symmetric point group may not contain a totally symmetric irreducible representation. This is also wrong. Why this is wrong? Because all symmetry point group must contain one irreducible representation, not may not. Okay, it must contain. So this statement also wrong. So the only correct statement is 1. So this is the correct option. Okay, yeah. We'll go to the next question. Yeah, see question number 11. The transition that is allowed by X polarized light in trans-butadiene is, okay, character table for trans-butadiene is given. Now we should check which transition is X polarized. Okay, so in options different transitions are given. Okay, in option 1 singlet AU to singlet AU, singlet AU in option B, singlet AU to singlet BG, in option C singlet BU to singlet BG, in option D triplet to singlet. Definitely this is wrong. Why? Triplet to singlet is not allowed, spin forbidden, so leave it. Now we have to check the remaining 3. See option A, AU to AU. Okay, listen, if you multiply two same one dimensional irreducible representation, I repeat, if you take the direct product of two same one dimensional irreducible representation, you will get a totally symmetric irreducible representation. So in this point group, okay, AG is the totally symmetric irreducible representation. So the direct product of AU and AU, okay, should be equal to AG. Okay, now see along AG in the third column we have Rx, x square, y square, z square, xy, but we don't have x here. Okay, we don't have x, therefore we don't have x, we don't have y, we even don't have z here. So this transition is actually forbidden transition. Okay, see this transition is not allowed, it is forbidden transition. Then see the second option. What is the second option? The second option is this, AU to BG, AU to BG. Now we'll do direct product of AU and BG. Listen, see the table, this is AU characters and this is BG characters. So multiply these two. Okay, 1 into 1 1, 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, 1 into minus 1 minus 1, minus into minus 1 plus 1. So what's the answer we will get? If you multiply these, listen, 1 into 1 is 1, minus 1 into 1 is minus 1. Okay, then 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, then minus 1 into minus 1 is plus 1. Now see the characters, these characters, okay, these characters are corresponds to, right, BU irreducible representation, right? So AU, the direct product of AU and BG is equal to BU. Now see the character table, along BU in the third column we have X as well as Y. Okay, so this transition, the second transition AU to BG, okay, it is allowed by X polarized light as well as by Y polarized light. Since the question is X polarized they are asking, so this is the correct option. Okay, now we'll check option C also, right? In option C, what's the transition BU to BG? If you take the direct product of BU and BG, right? If you take the direct product of BU and BG, if you take the direct product of these two, okay, what we'll get? We'll get AU as the result. Now see along AU in the third column we have Z. So this transition, the third transition is allowed by Z polarized light. Are you clear? Therefore the correct option, okay, is this. Why? Because in this transition, right, this transition is allowed by x polarized light as well as y polarized light. Since the question is x polarized light, so this is the correct answer. Okay, then we'll go to question number 12. Yeah, see, in 12 I have two questions. Okay, so question A, the direct product of E and E, okay, E and E direct product in D3 point group contains the irreducible representation. See, this is irreducible representation. Right now, when you do the direct product of these two, you will get a reducible representation. That reducible representation contains how many A1, how many A2, how many E. Are you clear? So first you have to do the direct product of these two, right? Listen. So what is the direct product of E and E? Listen, the E characters are 2, -1, 0. If you take E and E, so you have to multiply 2 into 2. 2 into 2 is 4. -1 into -1 is +1. 0 into 0 is 0. Therefore, the direct product of E and E is 410. Right? 410 is a reducible representation. And if you reduce this using the reduction formula, you will get 1A1, 1A2 and 1E. So after reduction, okay, we'll get this this answer, A1 plus A2 plus E. So which is the correct option? C. A1 plus A2 plus E, the correct option is A. Are you clear? Yeah, it's very simple. See here, it is given the direct product of E and E. You know very well, E is a 2-dimension. So when you multiply two-dimensional irreducible representation, you will end up with a reducible representation. Correct? So then reduce that reducible representation and find out how many A1, A2, E present, okay, in the reducible representation. That's all. Right? Then see the second question here. What is the result of C2x into C2y? Okay, multiplication of two operations, C2x into C2y. Yeah, how to do this? Listen, I'll take a point, right, a point in coordinate space. Okay, and this point has the coordinate x1, y1, z1. This is 1, z1. Now, you know very well, according to group theory, if two multiplication of two operations are given, we have to do the second operation first and then the first operation, correct? So that is the order of the operation we should perform. So when you do rotation along y-axis through 180 degree, listen, 180 degree rotation, right, along y-axis. So y coordinate remains as such because you are rotating along y. Y coordinate remains, y1 remains as such. Whereas the other two coordinate, they go exactly opposite side. Therefore, x1 become minus x1 and z1 become minus z1. Now followed by, we should rotate along x-axis by 180 degree again. So now if you do rotation along x-axis, x coordinate remains as such. See, minus x1 remains as such and y coordinate will change. This plus y1 become minus y1, the minus z1 become plus z1. Are you able to understand? So this is the result of the product of these two operations. Now what is the product of these two operations supposed to be equal to? I have told you in one of the lecture that if you multiply two symmetry operation, the result is also a symmetry operation. Okay, therefore what is the resulting symmetry operation? How to find out? You just check how will you convert x1, y1, z1 directly to this, right? If you analyze the initial and final coordinates, see, in the initial coordinate we have plus x1 plus y1 plus z1, but in the final we have minus x1 minus y1 plus z1. So z1 remains as such. Therefore it is equivalent to rotation around about z axis through 180 degree. Okay, so it is equal to C2z operation. So the correct option for this question is C2z. Okay, option C. Then we'll go to the next question. Question number 13. Symmetry number of methane molecules. Listen, every molecule has a symmetry number. What is meant by symmetry number? Listen, symmetry number is nothing but number of equivalent configurations that are obtained by rotation operations. I repeat, listen, how many rotation operations, right, that can give equivalent configuration, okay, in a molecule. Very simple. Listen, this is the table. Actually, I have taken this table from a book written by Professor Swarnalakshmi and Professor Saroja and Professor Elilarasi of Guru Nanak College. Okay, so this table directly gives you the symmetry number. So using this table, you can predict the symmetry number directly. Listen, methane molecule belongs to TD point group. Methane molecule belongs to TD point group. For TD point group, symmetry number is 12. Now we have to understand what is this 12 actually. Listen, in TD point group, see the rotation operation, right? These two are rotation operation, right? Now listen, you know very well, if you perform C3 operation or C3 square operation, you will get equivalent configuration, right? So here we have 8 C3 operation, here we have 3 C2 operations, so 8 plus 3 11, and identity operation. What is identity operation? Doing nothing, or you can say it is rotation of 360 degree, correct? Rotation about 360 degree is equal to identity operation. So you must consider identity operation also as a 360 degree rotation operation. So the total number of operations are 3 plus 8 11, 11 plus 1 12. So symmetry number is 12. Are you able to understand? And using this table, you can find symmetry number of any molecule. Okay, but you must know how to find the point group of the molecule. Are you able to understand? So if you know the point group, you can find the symmetry number directly using this table, right? So the correct option for this question is B. Okay, symmetry number for methane molecule is 12. Listen, here I have given, say suppose if you take another molecule, say water molecule, okay, how many symmetry number present in water molecule? Okay, how to analyze this? Listen, you know very well, the point group of water molecule is C2V. Water molecule is C2V. In C2V point group, we have one rotation C2 operation and we have an identity operation. So the total is 2. So symmetry number is 2. Correct? Now you see the table. This molecule belongs to C2V, right? For CN, CNH, CNV, okay, symmetry number is equal to N. Since the point group of this molecule is C2V, okay, N is 2, therefore symmetry number for this molecule is 2. So if you know the point group of this molecule, you can find the symmetry number directly using this table. Okay, yeah. Now we'll go to the next question. Question number 14. The irreducible representations of C2H are Ag, Bg, Au, Bu. The Raman active modes of trans 1,3-butadiene belong to the irreducible representation. Listen, they are asking Raman active modes. I have told you, listen, Gerard vibrations are Raman active, ungerard vibrations are IR active. Correct? So Gerard vibrations are Raman active, and listen, Gerard vibrations, right? Gerard vibrations are Raman active vibrations, Raman active, and ungerard vibrations are IR active. Okay, but Gerard vibrations are IR inactive. Similarly, ungerard vibrations, right? They are Raman inactive but IR active. So in these vibrations, we have Ag, Bg, Au, Bu. So Ag, Bg, they have Gerard symmetry. Therefore, these two irreducible representation, the vibrations belong to these two, right, are active in Raman. So the correct option is Ag, Bg, the option A. Then here I like to give some more information. Listen, this is I have given already, but anyway, I will discuss this. I will give you some informations again in IR and Raman active vibrations. Okay, listen, whenever molecule possesses center of symmetry, okay, then the molecule, then the vibrations may belong to Gerard symmetry or ungerard symmetry. Listen, in carbon dioxide, if you consider the symmetric stretching, what is symmetric stretching? Okay, the two bonds elongate, right? The two bonds elongate and compress simultaneously. If the elongation and compression occur simultaneously, we call that vibration as symmetric stretching vibration. in carbon dioxide has centrosymmetry, right? And this symmetry stretching vibration, okay, has inversion character as +1. So that means this vibration is symmetric with respect to I. That means during vibration, okay, at any point inversion remains as such. The molecule possesses inversion in any instant of time, okay. So the character of inversion is +1, okay, therefore it belongs to Gerard symmetry. Now listen, since the inversion or centrosymmetry is present, okay, at any instant of time during vibration, okay, change in dipole moment with respect to distance, okay, is 0. Since there is no change in dipole moment, this vibration is IR inactive. Are you able to follow? Then suppose if you take asymmetric stretching. What is asymmetric stretching? When one bond elongates, the other bond will compress. Okay, when one bond elongates, the other bond will compress, right? So this is called asymmetric stretching. Asymmetric stretching vibration, if you analyze the character for inversion is -1 for asymmetric stretching vibration. That means asymmetric stretching vibration belongs to Ungerade vibration. Listen, during asymmetric stretching vibration, see, one bond elongates, right? One bond elongates, the other bond compresses. Now listen, this bond has one dipole, this bond has a different dipole. Now these two dipoles, they do not cancel. So listen, before vibration, the dipole moment of the molecule is 0. Now at this point, the molecule has some dipole moment. Dipole moment is not 0 here. So there is a change in dipole moment occurs, correct? Before vibration, dipole moment is 0, right? Then at a particular instant of vibration, okay, the molecule gains some dipole moment. So there is a change in dipole moment occurs. So in asymmetric stretching vibration, dipole moment changes during vibration, right? It is not 0, it changes. Okay, therefore this vibration is IR active. You know very well, for a vibration to be IR active, okay, dipole moment should change during vibration. So under Ungerade condition, dipole moment changes during vibration, therefore it is IR active. Are you clear? Now why it is Raman inactive? What's the reason? How to analyze Raman activity? Listen, if you take symmetric stretching vibration, character of I inversion is +1, so it is Gerard symmetry. Listen, in symmetric stretching vibration, listen, both the bond elongates. Listen, before starting vibration, this molecule has a small ellipsoid called polarizability ellipsoid. When it undergoes symmetric stretching, the two bonds elongate simultaneously as well as compresses simultaneously, okay, right? Compresses simultaneously. Now what will happen? You will get a somewhat larger ellipsoid. Listen, this polarizability ellipsoid, size of the polarizability ellipsoid changes. If size or shape of polarizability ellipsoid changes, okay, that means polarizability changes during vibration. Okay, so change in polarizability is not 0. Okay, therefore the vibration is Raman active vibration. So in carbon dioxide, symmetric stretching vibration is Raman active vibration. If you go to asymmetric stretching vibration, right? See, in asymmetric stretching vibration, in asymmetric stretching vibration, listen, one bond elongates and the other bond compresses. Okay, and if you check the polarizability ellipsoid, this is the polarizability ellipsoid before vibration, this is polarizability ellipsoid, right, at one extreme position of the vibration, right? Now if you check the size will be, listen, in the diagram I have drawn not in a perfect manner, but if you analyze the size of the ellipsoid, that size of the ellipsoid, okay, are actually equal. So shape and size remains as such. Therefore here the change in polarizability is 0. So in asymmetric stretching vibration, okay, asymmetric stretching vibration belongs to Ungerade. Okay, in Ungerade vibration, change in polarizability during vibration is 0. Therefore, this vibration is Raman inactive. Are you clear? So that's why I have given this point in a simpler manner like this. So gyroid vibrations are IR inactive, Raman active, whereas ungyroid vibrations are IR active and Raman inactive. Are you clear? Yeah. Now we'll discuss the next question. Question number 15. The character table for D3 point group is given here. D3 point group table is given. For this point group, the correct statement among the following is, see option A. It is possible to have a totally symmetric normal mode of vibration which is IR active. See, this is totally symmetric irreducible representation, right? Now along this column, along this representation, see third column. In third column we don't have X or Y or Z. Therefore, this vibration is not IR active. Okay, so this statement is wrong. First statement is wrong. Why? Because in this case, the totally symmetric normal mode, right? It does not have any component of X or Y or Z. Therefore, this vibration, okay, is IR inactive. So this statement is wrong. See the second statement. All IR active normal modes are necessarily Raman inactive. Listen. See, it is not necessary that all IR active normal modes should be Raman inactive. Okay, see here. Suppose I'll take this. Okay, E irreducible. If any vibration belongs to E, those vibrations, listen, in the third column they have X component and Y component, so they are IR active. And in the fourth column they have XY component, right? XY component is there, so it is also Raman active. So that means the vibration which are IR active can also be Raman active in this case. Okay, so this statement also wrong. Now I'll go to statement number 3. All Raman active normal modes are necessarily IR active. Yeah, see here, in this case, listen, this vibration, E vibration is Raman active and it is IR active also. But then A1 vibration is IR active, Raman active, but it is not IR active. So all Raman active normal modes are necessarily IR active. Wrong. Why? See this irreducible representation, right? The vibration belongs to A1 are Raman active, but they are not IR active. Okay, because we don't have X, Y, Z here. Then see the last option. It is possible to have a pair of IR active normal modes that are degenerate. Yeah, listen, this irreducible representation, right? Vibration belongs to this irreducible representation is IR active because it has X and Y components, right? So it is IR active. But what is E? E means doubly degenerate irreducible representation. It means two vibrations, right? Two vibrations belong to this irreducible representation because they are degenerate. So it is possible to have a pair of IR active normal modes that are degenerate. Yes, this is correct. So option D is the correct option for this question. Are you clear? Then see question number 16. A character table of point group of order 4 is given below. Okay, yeah, so order 4 character table is given and they are asking what should be the characters of this irreducible representation. See, it is very clear. If order is 4, okay, then listen, order is 4 and it is given that there are four classes, right? When there are 4 classes, there should be 4 irreducible representation. When there are 4 irreducible representation, you know very well, right? If there are 4 irreducible representation, then squares of the dimensions of each irreducible representation, if you add them, that should be equal to 4. Therefore, listen, this is possible only if L1, L2, L3 should be equal to 1. So it means all these irreducible representations must be one dimension. If they are one dimension, then their character should be either +1 or -1. So in these places we should put either +1 or -1. And you know very well, identity character should be 1 because identity character indicates the dimension of the representation. So identity character should be 1. Then what about these characters? Listen, in this character you should put one character as +1 and the remaining 2 as -1, then only it will be orthogonal, right? It becomes orthogonal with respect to the other irreducible representations. Okay, now listen, since in this column we have already 2 -1 here, so this should be +1 character. Okay, and in this column we have 2 +1 numbers and 1 -1, so the third, so this character should be -1 in each column. Okay, apart from E, in each column, right? See, this is applicable only for C2V table, right, or a table with order 4. See, in this table you see column 2, 3, 4. In these columns 2 numbers should have -1 and 2 numbers should have +1, then only the orthogonal condition gets satisfied. Okay, so this number should be +1. Similarly here these two numbers are +1, this is -1, so the last number should be -1. Similarly here these two numbers are +1 and this is -1, so the last number should be -1. 1, 1, -1, -1, these are the characters for this irreducible representation, so the correct option should be A. 1, 1, -1, -1. Are you clear? Yeah. Next question. We'll see the next question. Yeah. So the question here is the B1U to B2G. B1U to B2G transition in ethylene is not allowed, allowed by X polarized site, allowed by Y polarized site, allowed by Z polarized site. How to analyze this? Simple. Initial state is B1U, final state is B2G. Take the direct product of these two. See, in ethylene molecule belongs to D2H point group. Initial state is B1U, final state is B2G. Take the direct product of these two. What are the characters of B1U? See, from the table you see the characters of B1U, these are the characters, and the characters of B2G, these are the characters of B2G. So this is the initial state B1U and this is the final state. Take the direct product of these two. Okay, from the character table the characters of B1U are, B1U characters are 1, 1, -1, -1, -1, -1, 1, 1. Okay, take the characters of B1U, then take the characters of B2G. B2G characters are here. Now you multiply the characters. Okay, so 1 into 1, 1, 1 into -1, -1, -1, +1, -1, +1, +1, -1. Now see these characters. Okay, just analyze the table and which irreducible representation belong to these characters or has these characters. Okay, it is B3U. See, 1, -1, -1, 1, -1, 1, 1, -1. These characters are present here, right? Which is corresponds to B3U irreducible representation. Now see, along B3U in column number 3, along B3U in column number 3 we have X. If X or Y or Z present, then that transition is allowed. Okay, so B1U to B2G transition is allowed in ethylene molecule and it is having S component, so it is allowed by X polarized light. Are you clear? So in ethylene molecule this B1U to B2G transition is allowed by X polarized light, so the correct option is this. This is the correct option. Are you clear? Yeah. Now we'll go to the next question. Question number 18. The pi orbital P1 plus P2 minus P3 minus P4 of cis butadiene belongs to the irreducible representation. Yeah, listen. P1, P2 minus P3 minus P4. Listen. These two lobes, they have same sign because between them, between P1 and P2, listen, this is plus, this is also plus, there is no node. Then between P2 and P3 sign changes, so there should be a node between these two, and from P3 to P4 minus, minus, same sign, so there is no node between P3 and P4. So if you see the pi orbital, listen, between P1 P2 there is no node, therefore the lobes should have same sign, the upper lobe plus, here also the upper lobe plus. Between P2 and P3 there is a sign change, correct? See, between P2 and P3 this is plus, this is minus, so sign changes. That means there should be a node present between these two. Since there is a node, sign of the lobe should change, so the upper lobe is plus here, and here the upper lobe should be minus. Then between P3 and P4 signs are same, minus, this also minus, so there is no change of sign, therefore upper lobe minus, here also upper lobe minus. So this is the structure of the orbital. Okay, now we have to carry out the operations. So when you do identity operation, identity means doing nothing, so signs of all the lobes remains as such, therefore give +1. Then to carry out C2Z operation, this is the Z axis. Along Z axis, you rotate the molecule by 180 degree. If you rotate, what will happen? See, here I have positive lobe, right? Above I have positive lobe, below I have negative lobe, right? When you do 180 degree rotation, this orbital will come here. When it comes here, listen, this lobe will go up. Okay, again, see, this positive lobe is coming up. That means after rotation and before rotation, sign remains same. So the character for this operation is again +1. Then sigma v. Suppose if I take sigma v as plane passing through the middle of all the lobes, middle of all the 4 orbitals. Okay, if it passes through the middle of the 4 orbital, and if you do reflection, upper lobe will go down and lower one will come up, so sign will change, therefore -1. Then third plane, place a plane, okay, at this place. Okay, place a mirror plane here. When you keep a mirror plane at the center, this orbital will reflect here and this orbital will reflect here, sign changes, correct? So the sign is -1. Now see the characters, 1 1 -1 -1. So this is corresponds to A2 irreducible representation. Are you able to understand? So this pi orbital corresponds to A2 irreducible representation of C2b point group. Okay, right. Then the next question. Number of IR active normal modes of pyridine is. Okay, IR active normal modes. Listen, in pyridine molecule has 11 atoms, right? Here we have 5 carbon atom, 1 nitrogen, so total 6, and we have 5 hydrogen, 6 plus 5, 11. It has 11 atoms, right? Now what we have to do, this pyridine molecule belongs to C2b point group, so carry out the operation and find out number of unshifted atoms. Okay, NUSA, number of unshifted atoms. Identity operation means doing nothing, all the 11 atoms remains as such. C2Z, this is the Z axis, so if you rotate by 180 degree, what will happen? This part will go this side. See, this part of the molecule will go here and this part will come here, whereas these atoms present in this axis, that is nitrogen, this carbon and this hydrogen, these 3 atoms remains in the same position, so number of unshifted atom is 3. Sigma v xz, listen, sigma v xz is passing, okay, passing perpendicular to the molecule, and it is passing through nitrogen, carbon and this hydrogen, so it is passing here, and if you do reflection, this part will reflect here, this part will reflect this side, whereas this atom remains as such, so again the number of unshifted atom is 3. Then sigma v yz, yz plane is the molecular plane, so the plane passes through all the atoms, and if you do reflection, all the atom remains as such, so number of unshifted atom is 11. Then whenever you keep a plane passing through all the atoms in the molecule, and if you do reflection, all the atoms remains in the same position. Are you clear? Then what is the character per unshifted atom? For identity, character per unshifted atom is 3. For C2Z it is -1. For any sigma plane, the character is +1, so +1 +1. Now multiply number of unshifted atom with the character per unshifted atom. 11 into 3, 33. 3 into -1, -3. 3 into 1, 3. 11 into 1, 11. So these are the characters for the 3n coordinate. I told you already that 3n coordinate means it consists of translation, rotation, vibration, all the 3. We want only vibration, so we should subtract translation and rotation, right? Now listen, for translation we should see x, y, z. Listen, for x we have these numbers, right? Characters 1, -1, 1, -1. For y we have 1, -1, -1, 1. For z we have 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Now add the characters of x, y and z. If you add, you will get this answer. Okay. Similarly, take the rotational character rx, ry, rz. See their characters and add these values. If you add these values, you will get this. Then you will get these values. Then add these two. you'll get 6 minus 2, 0, 0, right? Okay, this is the total rotation and the translation coordinates. Subtract this from 3n. So if you add these, you'll get 6 minus 2, 0, 0. Subtract this from the total. If you subtract, you'll get gamma vibration. So 33, 6 minus 6, 27, minus 3, minus or minus become plus 2, so minus 1, 3, 11. So now listen, these are the characters corresponds to vibration alone. Are you able to follow? So totally how many modes of vibrations are there? 27. Why? This molecule is non-linear, so total number of normal modes should be 3n minus 6. How many atoms are there? There are 11 atoms, so 11 into 3 is 33. 33 minus 6 is 27. So this molecule has 27 total modes. But how many of them are IR active? So to analyze that, we have to check, okay, or we can do it the other way. Listen, we can use a trick here actually. Listen, among A1, A2, B1, B2, which is not IR active? See, listen, along A1 I have Z, so it is IR active. Along A2 we don't have X, Y, Z here, see, so this is IR inactive. This is IR inactive. B1 we have X IR active, B2 we have Y IR active. So what we have to do, listen, you find the number of A2 present in the reducible character, okay. You find out how many A2 is present here. Subtract that number from this 27. The remaining number, okay, will be active in IR. Simple. Are you clear? So I am going to calculate how many A2 present in the representation. Okay. So in this representation, how many A2 is present? Use the reduction formula and calculate number of A2, and we obtain this result. We'll get 3 here. So 3 modes corresponds to A2 which are IR inactive. Total mode is 27. So subtract 3 from 27. 27 minus 3, 24. These 24 normal modes are IR active modes. So the correct option is 24. So 24 modes are IR active in pyridine. Are you clear? Yeah. See the next question. N2O molecule belongs to the point group. Now we should identify point group of the molecule. Listen, to identify point group, you must know the shape. What is the shape of N2O? Yeah, how to find out? It's very easy. Find the total valence electron first. Nitrogen valence electron 5. We have 2 nitrogen, 5 plus 5. And valence electron for oxygen is 6. So 5 plus 5 plus 6, it is 16. 16 total electrons are there. Now what we have to do, which is least electronegative among the 3 atoms? Nitrogen is least electronegative. So keep nitrogen as the central atom. And the remaining atoms are 1 nitrogen, 1 oxygen. So place 1 nitrogen here, another oxygen here. Okay, the oxygen here. Now complete the octet for the surrounding atoms. Keep the central atom as such. Complete the octet for these 2. So this bond has 2 electron, 2, 4, 6, 8. Similarly, this bond has 2 electron, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now count the total. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So 16 electrons are there, and we have total valence electron as 16, so which is completed here. Okay. Now the central atom is not octet, so bring 1 lone pair here, bring 1 lone pair here and make it into double bond. Similarly, bring 1 lone pair here and make it into double bond. So you will get this structure. Are you able to understand? Now if you calculate the formal charge of this nitrogen is -1. Why? Because in each bond this nitrogen contributes 1 electron. So 1 plus 1 2 plus 2 4 plus 2 6. So nitrogen atom has 6 electron. You know very well, valence electron for nitrogen is 5. Since it has 6 electron, it should carry a formal negative charge. Similarly, see this nitrogen contribute 4 electrons to the bonds, but nitrogen valence electron is 5. Now this has 1 electron less, therefore it should carry a positive charge. Are you able to understand? So this is the structure of N2O. Now see, surround the central atom has 2 bond pair, right? Double bond should be considered as 1 bond pair. This is 1 bond pair, this is 1 bond pair. There is no lone pair in nitrogen atom, central nitrogen atom. So molecule with 2 bond pair will have linear structure. So N2O is a linear one. and this is another resonance structure possible. This is also linear. Okay, now listen, when the molecule is linear, the point group should be either C infinity V or D infinity H. Okay, so molecule is linear. Is the molecular center of symmetry? No. Why? Because this is the center point. Suppose if you take nitrogen as center point, this side we have nitrogen, this side we have oxygen. So the molecule does not contain center of symmetry. Therefore, center of symmetry is absent. Therefore, the molecule belongs to C infinity V point group. So N2O molecule belongs to C infinity V point group. Okay, the correct option is 2. This is the correct option. Okay. Yeah, with this we have come to an end of this lecture series. Before wind up this lecture series, I like to thank a few people. I like to thank Dr. K. Subramanian, who taught this fascinating field of group theory for our batch. He created lot of interest in learning this subject in greater level. Then I like to thank our secretary, principal and head of the department for giving me this opportunity to share some of my views in group theory. Then I like to thank all my colleagues for supporting me in all means throughout this lecture series. Then I like to thank all participants. Without you, this would not be possible. So thank you very much once again. Then last but not least, my family, my entire family, they supported me and they motivated me in all possible manner. So thank you one and all.